One must prepare carefully for a road trip, but make sure to take just the essentials. Books, lots of them. Camera, of course. Change your clothing, but just the essentials. Toiletries. We're good to go. Good morning, Sophia. Let me tell you the story of the Sri Lankan Civil War. Let's go. Good morning, Sophia. Welcome to Sri Lanka. As you can see, I am making my way out of Colombo. I have come here to tell you the story of the Sri Lankan Civil War. I will tell you that story by traveling into some of the landscapes and locations where the war still casts a long shadow. I will also tell you about it by sharing with you some beautiful books, both fiction and non-fiction, that I read along the way. And I will tell you about it by taking you to places where we are going to do some photography. At the moment, I am heading up into the northeast of the country, and we have a fairly long journey ahead of us, possibly about a 7-hour ride. All right, let me show you where we are, Sophia. So I left Colombo this morning and I'm riding up right through to the middle of this country, right into what is known as hill country. And we're going to take this road and go right up to Dambulla and then cut across and take some back roads and all the way over to this city of Polonnaruwa. This is an absolutely beautiful part of Sri Lanka with some stunning landscapes which you're going to see as we ride through there. So the series is beginning in Polonnaruwa. Polonnaruwa is a 10th century heritage site, and it is one of the most popular tourist destinations in Sri Lanka. Now that's not why we're going there, and you learn why we actually begin this season of crooked songlines in Polonnaruwa once we get there and in a future episode. So let me quickly tell you a little bit about the Civil War, Sophia. Obviously, you will learn a lot more in future episodes, but for just now, the Civil War, Sophia, which nearly lasted 30 years, was between the Tamil minority of Sri Lanka, who are largely Hindu, against the Sinhalese majority, who are predominantly Buddhists. Each of these communities had a very particular idea of the nation state they wanted to build. The Tamils were fighting for a separate homeland in the north and northeast, and they called that Tamil Ilam. The Sinhalese, however, claimed the right to the entire island of Sri Lanka. Notice the categories I used to describe the war. Sinhalese, Tamil, Hindu, Buddhist, and the most important one of all, nation. Just look how discrete and separate they feel, as if they can never ever be in overlap, as if each one of these stands completely apart from the other. People are willing to die and people are willing to kill for these categories, as if they are timeless, unchanging, and clearly defined. The Sri Lankan civil war, Sophia, begins in the 6th century BCE. I know, that just sounds weird, but let me explain. For Sinhalese nationalists, Sophia, the war against the Tamils has raged since ancient times. And they use a book called the Mahavamsa, an ancient epic, to justify that claim. The Mahavamsa, Sophia, is a 6th century text, although compiled, translated by British Orientalists somewhere around the 19th century. And today, in the hands of Sinhalese nationalists, it has become fact and history. The central character, perhaps the most important character in the Mahavamsa, Sophia, to which nearly a sixth of the book is devoted, is the Buddhist king Duttugemenu. Duttugemenu embodies the text's moral lessons, and he is the young Buddhist king who just yearns to fight and defeat the Tamils and evict them from Sri Lanka. Duttugemenu's protagonist is the Tamil king Ilara. Ironically, the Mahavamsa tells us that Ilara was a fine, righteous, and fair king, someone who had great respect for the Buddhists. It is the final battle between Duttugemenu and Ilara that has become a metaphor for the war between the Sinhalese state and the Tamils. The war, Sophia, goes on for nearly 13 years. Great armies gather and face each other. Thousands are killed during that time, and there's great suffering in the land. The final confrontation between Duttugemenu and Ilara occurs somewhere near the city of Anuradhapura. Duttugemenu, on his elephant, steps onto the battlefield to confront his foe. He dodges a spear thrown at him by Ilara, and his elephant, Kandula, charges forward and impales Ilara's elephant, just as Duttugemenu drives a spear into Ilara's heart and kills him. And just like that, the greatest battle of the Mahavamsa is over. The Tamils have been defeated. There's a strange moment in the aftermath of the war when Duttugemenu is overcome with remorse at the carnage and destruction that he caused in his war against Ilara. But his Buddhist counselors assure him that it is no sin to kill Tamils, because Tamils are evil and no more than animals. They tell Duttugemenu that because of his actions, Buddhism will thrive in Sri Lanka, and that he should stop worrying about such issues. and in all this talk about war, death, and carnage, I completely forgot to mention the most exciting thing. Picked up this motorcycle earlier in Colombo, a Royal Enfield Classic 350, and it's going to be with me for the rest of the month. It's just beautiful, simple, easy to ride bike, and just absolutely magnificent for these roads. If you ever get into motorcycle riding, Tafia, this is a really great place to begin. So we're soon arriving in Polonnaruwa, Sophia, and we have started drawing our own beautiful songline across Sri Lanka. Now, songlines, Sophia, are narrative, imaginative, and poetic maps that the Aboriginal people of what is now known as Australia produce. These are absolutely gorgeous ways of storytelling and map making, and I've always loved them. And we are going to, in the coming weeks, make one of our own. It's been a long day, Sophia. I need to get some sleep. Why are these pillows so uncomfortable? Bloody cheap hotels.